Hey guys, and welcome to my channel, The Northwest Forager. Today we have a very exciting episode because we're going to be foraging for the bull thistle taproot. Later we'll cook it on a campfire and then I'll tell you my thoughts on how it tastes. So if that sounds like something you'd like to watch, stay tuned. In case you're wondering, bull thistle has pretty much been naturalized across the United States. Oftentimes what happens is you'll get waves of it where it will fill a large patch in one area, develop, go to seed, not come back, and then a year or two later come back somewhere else totally different. First year it spends all of its time growing a taproot and leaves. Second year it's going to put all of its energy into growing a flower stalk. And so what we're after, of course, is the first year. The second they go up to flower, they pull all the energy out of the taproots, and a lot of times the roots will lignify and they get too woody to eat. And it is beginning of May. If we wait any longer, the chances are that most of them are going to start going to flower. So we definitely want to find what we can now. If you're not sure what bull thistle is and you are worried that you're going to eat the wrong one, good for you, because that means you're a smart person. However, there is a wide range of plants that are considered true thistles, and there is no true thistle that is poisonous to humans. Did you know bull thistle is a true thistle? Its scientific name is Cirsium vulgare, and it's in the aster family. Bull thistle is a biannual, meaning that it has a 2-year life cycle. So under normal growing conditions, it will spend its first year focusing on leaf and root development, and then in the second year it will focus on growing flowers and seed production. As we take a look at the whole plant, we'll see that the leaves display a rosette formation, and they're laying close to the ground. Now rosette means that the leaves emerge in an overlapping rotational pattern, kind of like that of a spiral. However, once bull thistle begins flowering, the stems will rise above this leaf set, and they can grow as high as 3 to 6 feet tall, at which point it develops its brilliant purple-violet flowers. Now taking a closer look at the leaves, we'll see that they're deeply lobed on the sides, kind of like waves of the sea. But not only are they like this from the top view, but you'll see that they're also like this along the sides. And this makes for a very dimensionally interesting pattern. Along the leaf margins here and on the tip of each lobe, there are very sharp spines. And unlike hairs or thorns, spines are actually hardened, sharp extensions of the leaf tissue itself. And in addition to the spines, leaves are covered in fuzz-like hairs, and this can be seen along the stem and across the entire leaf. And now this is on both the top and undersides. Bull thistle leaves also grow very large. It's not unusual for them to grow up to 1 foot long and a few inches wide. For comparison, I have here a sow thistle leaf as well as a Canada thistle. Although the shape of bull thistle and sow thistle are similar, sow thistle lacks the piercing spines and fuzzy hairs. As a result, it appears glossy, while bull thistle looks dull. Additionally, the bull thistle leaf has the texture of what you would say like a toad, whereas you could say sow thistle looks more like frog skin. Canada thistle, on the other hand, is much smaller in size, and although it does have spines, isn't nearly as deeply lobed. Whenever you're identifying plants and you just have any doubt, simply do not eat. Here's a big one. Look at the size of that leaf next to my hand. This guy, it's hard to tell on camera, but actually comes up over 1 foot off the ground. You can see that the stem is beginning to elongate. Ideally, we want ones that haven't even started to do that as far as the root goes. So we'll keep looking. Ooh. Just saw something I want to show you. Right here is burdock. But look at that leaf. That thing is 1.25 foot long. Yeah, that is huge. In fact, we're going to come back to this because I have an idea for cooking our taproots. I think we found the mother lode. You can see all the individual plants everywhere. In case you guys are wondering what I'm using, this is called a hori hori knife. And as far as a knife garden shovel hybrid, they're super useful, especially when you're digging for bulbs and roots. Oh, okay, this looks like a good one. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. That right there is a decent sized taproot. The elephant in the room would be the fact that every time I make a video, it seems like a few years goes by, but I'm like, hey guys, it's another video. No time's gone by. Oh yeah, another good one. See the length on that? Couple more. Hopefully that fire hasn't burned out because I want to cook on those hot coals. You're going to take our bull thistle roots. We are going to wrap them we'll fold that over, and we're going to do this with all the leaves. We want this to steam as much as possible without torching the roots too badly. That's the goal anyway. We'll see what happens. I can pinch this and then wrap it just like that. That will create nice tension. Everywhere I go, people are always asking me, Hank, will you just play your flute? I mean, guys, I would, but I'm totally unprepared. Oh, here we go. Well, you know, it's been a while, but I would like to play a song. This little song goes something like this. I just want to dedicate it to you guys. Oh, sorry, I was a little out of practice there. Just give me another chance. I know. Then I will eat it. Brought some salt. That's it for flavoring. But before I salt it, we'll try it as it is. That piece is a little bitter. Let me try one of these younger ones. A little bitter. You know what it is? Is no salt. They're transitioning into flowering, so that's the reason why they're a little more bitter than normal. See, the skin of the root separates from that inner core. This is because it's getting ready to flower, so it's building up its strength. And there's a lot of fiber in that. So that one was better. That one tasted like a lot more like sunchokes. Not nearly as bitter as the others. The other thing I realized too is these have been cooked in burdock leaves, which, although are edible, can be bitter as well. So let's try these. Oh yeah. Those are bitter. Yeah. Man, I have a high tolerance for bitter. These leaves are way too bitter. Whew. I'm tired. I need to put everything away and head back home. Thanks guys so much for sticking around to the end. I appreciate you. Please hit that like, and until I see you next time, happy foraging! Well, you guys are still here? The video's over. It's okay, you can go. I mean, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Anyway, we'll see you later. Bye. I'm serious, you have to go. You're making it weird now, okay? You made it weird. I'm not making it weird, you're making it weird. What do you mean I'm the one talking to a camera? Wait, I am the one talking to a camera. I made it weird, huh? That's what I do.